I know I was not around here much in 2025, but I am back and I'm ready to talk about some movies from last year. Hello everybody, I'm Jay Mere and welcome back to my channel. And this time I want to talk about some movies from last year. This is my top 10 favorite movies of 2025. Yes, I am aware I was not really that present in the year 2025. I want to change that. I want to be back more on this channel. I want to do more videos. I want to talk more movies with you guys. I'm really enthusiastic to talk and review about new movies. I'm aware we're already a couple of months in this new year so far. We are already April. But still, I want to talk about 2025 because I did not review a lot of movies last year. So I want to talk a bit more about my favorite movies from 2025. And after this video I'm gonna focus on the new movies from 2026. I've seen a couple of you. There were some pretty good ones already this year, some lesser ones also. But first of all, let's talk about 2025. Also, there are a few movies of 2025 that were only released this year, like in end of February, in March even. And these were some big movies of 2025. They were also really nominated in a lot of categories at the Oscars. Some even won Oscars. And I really wanted to see those movies first before I give my top 10 of 2025. Movies I really saw this year that were still from 2025 were like Avatar, Fire and Ash. I was really late to the party on that movie, but I'm glad I saw that film. And also Hamnet and Marty Supreme were two movies I really wanted to see. So let's see if these three movies made my top 10. But first of all, 5 honorable mentions. First two summer blockbusters that I really liked, that are Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I thought it was a very solid conclusion to that franchise, but it's not on the same level as like Fallout or Dead Reckoning Part 1. I think those movies were a bit better, more in entertainment and in story, but still a solid part of this franchise. And the best summer blockbuster I have seen from 2025 is F1, the movie, the Formula 1 movie with Brad Pitt. Really enjoyable blockbuster. Also a horror movie that I really enjoyed in 2025 was Companion, the first movie I saw that year, and that was just a really fun horror movie that was really to my likings. Also The Housemaid was a movie that came out at the end of the year. I really enjoyed that. Really surprising movie with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried. Had a blast watching that movies at theaters. And my final honorable mention is Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Another movie that pops up in a lot of lists, I think. But I actually enjoyed this movie. Another great performance by one of my favorite actors at this moment, Jeremy Allen White. And I think this movie just came out at the right time for me, and that's why I really like the movie. Anyhow, those were my honorable mentions. Let's get to the top 10. And we start the top 10 with another horror movie. And this was the movie that I looked the most forward to in seeing in 2025, and that is Final Destination: Bloodlines. I am a big fan of this horror franchise. Scream and Final Destination, those are my favorite horror franchises. And I really wished that I did a review of this movie. Maybe I'm still gonna do something Final Destination related because I really want to talk about this franchise. Maybe I'm gonna do a series review in general, maybe a ranking video. Anyhow, Final Destination: Bloodlines. I waited so long for a new Final Destination movie to hit theaters. And this movie actually really delivered well. I really enjoyed it. There are still other movies in this franchise that I liked a bit more, but I think they were very creative story-wise in the kills. They add some new elements to the franchise, and it all worked really well. The only negative I really have about this movie is the CGI gore in this movie. That was not really to my likings, but all in all, I really enjoyed Final Destination Bloodlines. Coming at number 9 is a totally different movie, and that is Train Dreams. Train Dreams, also one of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture. Also a movie that really surprised me. It's a very simple movie with a beautiful yet simple cinematography, but that really empowers the story of this movie even more. It's just a story about this man in the early 1900, the early 20th century. Has this western vibe, and we see this man follow him to his life basically, from his child to his older age, and what he's doing in his life. He works at the train, the railroad, the train, and trees. He met all these people. He met his wife. It's just so beautifully told, and I was really impressed in how this story was told and how this story was shot on film. Train Dreams, I really recommend this movie. Perfect performance by Joel Edgerton, a great actor too. Train Dreams, beautiful movie. At number 8, and the movie at number 8 really surprised me in another different way. Number 8 is Begonia. Now, why is this a surprise? People who know me will know why it's a surprise. This movie is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, and myself, I'm not the biggest Yorgos Lanthimos movies. Look, I respect his style, I respect his movies, I'm really glad that he can do his own visions of stories, his own style, but they were not always appealing to me. I do not like his movies. With the exception of Begonia. At Begonia I really like. It's really the story that I like. Just two brothers that kidnap a woman because they think that she is an alien. That's just a crazy premise for a movie, and the movie is crazy in itself as well. And I really love the movie. Yorgos Lanthimos, his style really worked in this movie for me. Begonia, crazy movie, definitely I recommend it. At number 7 we have Predator Badlands. 2024 had an Alien movie in my top 10. This year we have a Predator movie. And I also like Killer of Killers, the animated movie that came last year. But Badlands was just fantastically epic. It was an awesome movie. And I really like what Dan Trachtenberg is doing with these Predator movies, with Prey, Killer of Killers, now with Badlands. Badlands is a completely different take of the story of Predator. This time we not follow a human, we follow actually a predator. And a predator that is basically banished from his tribe because he's too small and he's not that good of a fighter. And he goes to another planet to prove himself. Great story. Really loved this character, Deck I believe was his name, and his journey to prove himself from his tribe. Everything in this movie was awesome. From the first notes we hear from the music, that was just some beautiful score, to the fight scenes with the predators in that tribe on that planet. When we go to the main planet of the movie, it was all fantastic. I love Predator Badlands. So, deservingly of a spot in my top 10. Number 6, another surprise, and that's Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, Avatar is always a movie franchise that I really wanted to like, but never really did. I appreciate the movies, I appreciate what James Cameron is doing on special effects, but story-wise, the first two movies were always a bit lacking for me. I really liked the first movie, but it's a story that we all know. The second movie I had really high hopes for me, but I was not entertained by it as I would have hoped to be. So my hopes were not high for the third movie, but this third movie really delivered what I always wanted from the first and the second Avatar movie. It gave me entertainment, it gave me a bit more story, because they were focusing on another tribe, a villainous tribe in this movie, that brought more conflict. I also liked the character of Quaritch and his plotline in this movie a bit more than his previous two movies. The previous two movies were all world building, and that's a bit less in this movie. We are now more focused on the conflict, on the story, and on the war and everything that's going on in this world. And that's why the third movie is my favorite, because it's more entertainment. And I had some really excitement when watching this movie that I did not expect it from an Avatar movie, honestly. So therefore I give it my 6th place in my top 10. So guys, we are at the top 5. At number 5 we have the Oscar winner for Best Picture, and that's One Battle After Another. And I'm so glad that Paul Thomas Anderson finally got his Oscar for Best Director. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of my favorite directors, together with Del Toro and Tarantino. Del Toro already had his Oscar, now Anderson won as well. I'm very glad. One Battle of Another, maybe not my personal favorite movie of PTA, but it was a completely different film that we already have seen from him. It's more action driven, more political even than his other movies, but it worked. DiCaprio plays this washed up revolutionary guy that is basically now a couch potato, and he did not do much the past years, and then his daughter gets in trouble because of this crazy colonel, so he has to go on his journey. And I was really pleasantly surprised with the directions that Paul Thomas Anderson did with this movie. I was completely unknown where this movie was heading, what was going to happen next, and it's all beautifully shot, what you can expect from a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. His cinematography is always top notch, there was some beautiful camera work. This movie has my favorite scene of 2025, and that is the chase scene at the end of the movie. That was just beautifully shot. And One Battle of Another is a phenomenon of 2025 and deserving in my top 5. And number 4, I already talked about him. He also had a movie in 2025, and that is Frankenstein from Guillermo del Toro. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of these retellings of classic stories, but in the hands of del Toro you can expect a fantastic movie, and that is what Frankenstein is. Great cinematography, structurally very well told, with the two perspectives of the two characters. We first focus on Dr. Victor Frankenstein's perspective on the story, and then we go to the perspective of the monster that is played perfectly by Jacob Elordi, deserving of that nomination for the Oscar. His part is definitely the most interesting part of the movie. The most beautifully story is definitely with him. I really loved every scene in this movie. Del Toro really took his time to tell the story of Frankenstein again, and it worked. There was never a dull moment, never a boring moment, even if you know the story and what is going to happen. It's just amazing. But the greatest thing about this movie is the set design, the costumes, where they won Oscars for, and of course the cinematography. Frankenstein, a beautifully movie to watch over and over again. At my number 3 we have Hamnet. Hamnet, like I said, is one of these movies that I saw earlier this year for the first time. Hamnet, that movie, I have to be honest with you, it started really slow. I was not really in that movie right away, but when I was in the movie was gradually breaking me, in a positive way, to be clear. This movie broke me emotionally. It was a long time since I have felt emotions like this in a movie, in a theater, for a long time, and Hamnet delivered that. It was emotionally devastating, but wow, what a movie. I was really impressed by Hamlet. This movie is brilliant. And the movie, like I said, it was a slow start, but when you get in the movie, it always gets better and better and better. Great performances, great filmed in a that third act was fantastic, but people praise the third act a lot, but there is even a moment in the middle with one of the kids that is so well done. Jessie Buckley won an Oscar for her performance, well deservedly, but there is even another actor, one of the kid actors, the boy. His performance, that was amazing. And his scenes, they were just so beautifully devastating, if you can say that, but I was really amazed by Hamlet in all the best ways. At number 2, we have Marty Supreme. And for a long time I really thought that Marty Supreme was going to be the only contender for one battle of the other at the Oscars. But how close we got by the Oscars, smaller the chances were of Marty Supreme. It's a very divisive movie, to be honest. There are people that really praise Marty Supreme for what the movie is, and there are people that really don't like Marty Supreme for the kind of movie that Marty Supreme actually is. Marty Supreme, if you know a bit of the Safdie brothers' work, this is directed by, it's one of the Safdie brothers, and their movies, like Good Time, like Uncut Gems, they are really anxiety movies. A lot is going on, there is a lot of talking, a lot of actions, a lot of chaos. There are movies that after you have seen it you have to take something for your head because you're gonna have a headache for all the stuff that's going on. But that's also really the beauty of their movies, the chaos that they deliver, the anxiety that they deliver. And that's what Marty Supreme is. Timothée Chalamet, a great actor, he delivered a great performance in this movie. He was my personal favorite for the Oscar for Best Picture, but Michael B. Jordan, he also deserves it. He played his characters in Sinners also very well. But I really liked the intensity that Marty Supreme has. Also, Marty is an interesting character, he is a ping pong player and he wants the success. And the way to success is a really bumpy road. And you see every failure that he takes, and that is for me the power of this movie. The bumpy road to success and all the failures you have to struggle with. That's for me what Marty Supreme is, and that's why it's my number 2 favorite movie of 2025. But my favorite movie of 2025, and that is a movie that I actually did do a review about, that is Weapons. Weapons is one of the best movies I have seen in a long time. For me, it's even the best movie I have seen this decade so far. I love this movie. I have seen it a couple of times now. Every time I like it even more. I like the structure of the movie, that we focus on each character and we see it in his or her perspective of the events. I like the mystery of this movie. Like the first time I saw this movie, I had no idea where this was going. Everything was interesting and I really like it. That third act, the really ending of the movie, that was just so amazing. I really love that. And I really like that they recreated that scene at the Oscars as well. Weapons, also the editing, very interesting way of editing. They really worked with a lot of jump cuts. Jump cuts is not really something that I prefer, but they do it in a really smooth way. And it really makes the movie better in that way. Interesting characters. Everything in this movie is really perfect. I have not really a negative about this film. Weapons, I really love Weapons, so there was no doubt that this was going to be my favorite movie of 2025. The second I saw it, I knew it. This was going to be my favorite of this year. And it is. So guys, this was my top 10 favorite movies of 2025. I hope you liked my top 10. Always be free to share your personal top 10 of 2025 below in the comments. Would love to read that. And if you want to see more reviews of me or top 10s in the future, always be free to subscribe to my channel. And till the next time.